We don't have more. No.
Yeah, Mason Bible, totally demonic. Well, for Masonic use, so they've got alternate definitions of words. But what really shocked me the first time I picked this up, sun god, Ra, Amen, the Father of God, the Creator, published in the Freemason Bible, which is, near as I can tell, it's a King James version. People like Jordan Maxwell and the woman who made Ring of Power, they try and mix up language and they say, oh, well, when you say Amen at the end of a prayer, you're really, this is who you're saying your prayer to, Amen Ra. Well, that's a lie. No, Amen is Hebrew for so be it, or it is so.
So be it, or something.
I think
like
it's
that.
so be it. It's Hebrew. Talk to anyone who's Hebrew and say, what does Amen mean? And they'll say, well, it is so. And that's the truth. That's why we say Amen at the end of a prayer, because it's Hebrew for so be it. Or I think it's so be it. But these liars are trying to convince everyone that you're praying to Amen Ra, the sun god. That's the mystery religions. They mix in all these lies and pagan sun worshipping, trying to corrupt and pervert everything.
So the Christian halo comes from these.
Yeah, I know, yeah. The halo never appeared.
Never in the Bible says anything about anything like that.
Until the 4th century, yeah. And so we've got all this Babylonian crap mixed in here. And these are, there's an obelisk. Well, that was Osiris's penis. That's
worship for fertility.
phallic worship. Yeah. Yeah, and the Washington Monument, it's an Egyptian obelisk. There's one at the middle of St. Peter's Square in the Vatican. There's another one in the middle of the city of London. These Egyptian obelisks, what are they doing all over the planet?
The Oval Office is actually a female genitalia.
Yeah.
And the steeple is actually penetrating it. If you look at it from a certain angle, it's a steeple penetrating the Oval Office, which is a female.
You just need to watch Christian J. Pinto's are about the history and blah blah blah. But then you flip to the back and there's all this Egyptian Babylonian account of the building of the walls and temples of Babylon.
I think it's interesting that Saddam Hussein actually believed that he was Nebuchadnezzar. Yeah. He thought he was a reincarnation of Nebuchadnezzar. There's even a statue in Iraq that says that. See how he's bigger than all the others? Because he's the god, and they're the people who are worshipping the giant Nephilim gods from back in the day.
These are given to initiated when they're reborn. Okay. Now this belonged to Brother Edward Black. Was initiated November 10th, 36. He passed and then was raised. And when you're raised, you're reborn. That was 1936. This guy was initiated. And then these are all the lodge numbers of visiting brethren and friends. Lodge number 231, 669, and the names. The names of the lodges and the numbers of the lodges. And this is the guy who raised them, fellow candidates. I guess that's witnesses, I don't know. But these are supposed to be returned upon death. And I guess what happened was that this guy passed away, and whoever was handling his estate just dropped off a bunch of books at the used bookstore, not realizing that this was contained within and the significance of it. So I'm not supposed to have this, but the person at the used bookstore knew it would be appreciated and set it aside. It's got the compass and square right on the front. It's blue. It's got a blue cover, and it's got the compass and square right on the front. It says Masonic Bible. That's what it says. This is copyrighted 1928. And it opens up with the Holy Bible in Freemasonry and explains, they try and justify or convince the unsuspecting Mason that, see, I think the first degree, when you're doing the ceremony, you're asked, what do you seek? Light. And then the second degree, it's what do you seek? More light. And then the third degree, what do you seek? Further light. And they rise up through the degrees. Now, Stab Monteith does a great presentation called The Hidden Secret. And the hidden secret, which is revealed at the 33rd degree, is that the light you've been seeking all of this time is the light of the light bearer, Lucifer. The Ralph Epperson presentation, the second witness to the apocalypse, goes into all this in great detail with the quotes directly from Manly P. Hall and Albert Pike. It explains how all Masons swear an oath to destroy Christianity at all costs, regardless of whether you have to murder, lie, steal, doesn't matter. Everything is justified. Here we get into page 7, and they're explaining how the Bible became a great light. See, they use this term, light, light, great light, all the way through, and the hidden secret, which is not revealed until the 33rd degree, is what the light really is. Yeah. So we get into the story of the English Bible, and there's all this stuff prefacing the actual beginning of the Bible. King Solomon's temple. It's all very startling. I'm trying to be careful because it's a Masonic Bible. Okay, the construction of the temple, they're getting into Solomon's temple. Masonic ritual. Okay, we're on page 31. And then we get page 33. The Holy Bible starts on page 33. Could that be a coincidence? What's the significance of 33? The Holy Bible starts on the 33rd page of the Masonic Bible.
Today we're going to take a look at the Oxford Masonic Bible. So first, a little background how I came into possession of this Bible. I actually wanted to take a look at this Masonic Bible for a few years, and I can't say I pursued it, but it came that I was talking with an older guy that I know, and somehow we were talking about clubs and things you joined, and he said that he was a Mason. And I asked him, well, do you still have your Masonic Bible? And he says, yeah, I still have it. And I said, well, would you let me, borrow it? And he said, yeah, absolutely. So I said, well, next time I see you, bring it, and I'd like to borrow it for like a weekend, that type of thing. And he agreed, and he left and actually came right back with the Bible and said, like take as long as you want with the thing, and just be careful with it or whatever. And I was super grateful just to be able to get a look at this. It's a no pun intended holy grail, and something I didn't think I'd ever actually see in person. So it's really cool. Comes in a really nice case. So the Bible itself is well preserved. So any actual abuse would have been taken by this. And this is the Oxford edition. They do talk about different stylings, the contents, the Grand Lodges. This is, I guess, from New York. And we'll take a look at the Bible itself. I have the King James Bible, so there are some notable differences between this and that. And we'll get to that. There's the Freemason insignia on the front. And I tell you that this one offers Masonic helps. And again, it's the Oxford edition. The opening basically features where it was presented, on the date. So this would have been actually just about a year ago. This was May 27, 1970. This would be who was received by, who met there, who was raised by, visiting brethren and friends, got to sign it. The next portion goes into discussing what the Bible is. I read a little bit of it. They kind of tell you that you should take this with a grain of salt, as this is their interpretation of the Bible. I'll have to see if I can find that exact page. But this goes on to talk about the great light in Masonry. How the Bible became a great light. Masonic teachings. And again, the Bible's actually in very good shape. Legend of the craft, legend of the temple. How they constructed the temple. Let's see. That's not what I was looking for. It's like I said, somewhere in here they talk about how this is their version of it, and how I forget the word they used, but how like new members should view this as their new version of the Bible. Genesis starts out the same. They talk about God creating the firmament, separating the waters, talking about how above the firmament was heaven, and below it is what became the earth. Then it was different from my Bible to this, is that when you get to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, there's a little bookmarker. They call them saints. St. Matthew, St. Mark, St. Luke, St. John. No big deal, but just a little noticeable difference. Then when we get to the back of it, they get into their dictionary. So if you need to look up a word, you don't understand something, they remind you this is for Masonic use. So this is your dictionary if you don't understand something. Then they have different charts. Talk about Christ, the harmony of life.
So Saturday, what do you have Saturday? I know the night.
In the very back, they have, which I thought was interesting, and this is something I really wanted to see in person, but they do feature Egyptian gods and goddesses, which is kind of interesting because, being Catholic, a Roman Catholic in my case, we are not taught that these gods exist, but they clearly have them shown here. So, again, I didn't go and read the Bible. I only have this for a short few days. I may look into it a little more, but I thought this was interesting. The soul revisiting the body. But there's a ton of Egyptian references in here that I don't think would normally be in other versions of the Bible. Strangers coming into Egypt. Egyptian brickmakers. So I'm definitely grateful to have had the opportunity to check this out and to be able to share it with anyone that watches the video. Different plates. I don't know exactly what these are supposed to be. Narandurus, the king of Babylon. I don't know, some kind of plate. These are definitely very odd things you wouldn't see in an average Bible. Different coins. Then we get into maps. There's a Jerusalem in Old Testament times. Exodus. What's this one? Israel. The United Monarchy. Palestine. So yeah, that is a really quick look at the Masonic Bible. It talks about Freemasonry and their ties to religion. Now, there's been some rumors, and I haven't seen anything here to indicate this, but how when you finally find out, what the Great Light is, it's supposed to be that you're worshiping Satan the entire time. The gentleman that gave me this only became a level 3 Mason, so he would not have known anything about that. Supposedly that's level 30 that you find out what the Great Light is. Anyway, like I said, I was glad to get a hold of this, and I was glad to be able to share it. So I hope that gave a little more insight. Again, this is a really great example of the Masonic Bible. Terrific shape with the original case. I haven't seen that before. The cover itself is in pristine condition.